Hey guys, this is Dr. Slay. I hope you're doing all right. Hey, today is Saturday. It is the 14th of March. And the last time I talked to you, we were talking about coronavirus, and it had taken 26 people. That date was the 10th. And today is the 14th, and we now have 55 fatalities in the U.S. from coronavirus. So you can see it's doubling about every 4 days. Let's take a look at this website that I found that's pretty cool. It's called worldometers.info. And if you look at this, so we can see so many different statistics here. And, you know, the validity of the accuracy, I'm not 100% sure, but it's better than what most people have is nothing. Not on a coronavirus nature, but you can take a look here at all the incredible stats they keep track of. And by the way, you can see here they also have a seasonal flu counter, and we'll take a look at that. But you can look at social media, society of media, food, water, crazy things like deaths caused by water-related diseases. And this is per year in the world, which you wouldn't think, right? Just the list goes on and on. And you can see some of these numbers are moving pretty darn quick. Let's take a look here. We're not even going to get into some of those. Cigarettes smoked per day. Look at this. This crazy number. And this is just right now. And it's 1:41 p.m. Deaths caused by smoking. And these are diseases that everybody knows is a problem, but yet still people deal with them. So, but that's another conversation. So take a look at all these. Some of these are going to blow your mind, maybe even scare you to death. They kind of did me. But let's take a look at the flu counter, and it just takes you down here to this one here. Okay, here we go. Seasonal flu deaths today, 760 worldwide. Let's expand that a little bit here, and it says here, every day an estimated 290,000, 650,000 people die in the world. That's every year. I'm sorry, I don't know if I said every day. Due to complications for seasonal influenza. That's a pretty amazing number. I really never knew it was such an extent. But they're saying that the virulence of the coronavirus is about twice that of the standard flu. And we're going to take a look at those numbers. So if you come up here and take a look at the very top, you'll see coronavirus. Bring that up. So it shows you the amount of coronavirus cases and deaths and recovered. So if you're looking at that number, so we got 5814 divided by 155,845 times 100, and we're looking at about 3.73% death rate. But you know what? Those numbers really, you have to understand where they're coming from. A lot of countries don't have appropriate testing so far, so we don't know who's gotten sick and who's gotten well, so that stat is really kind of distorted. But this is what I find interesting, view by country. So you can take a look and see, and for example, China. Now, is China giving us accurate numbers? I don't know what you can believe with China and what you can't. I don't think anybody can. But one of the countries that really has a lot of great information is South Korea. And South Korea had to deal with the MERS virus, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, in 2015. And what they learned was, number one, to have plentiful testing, to have plentiful testing sites, and how to deal with patients. And they had to do it all within a very short period of time. I think it was 17 days. So they understand how the system works and what needs to happen at this point, and they've done a pretty darn good job at dealing with coronavirus. So if we look at their fatality rate, we're looking at anywhere from 0.7 to 0.9% of people that are infected actually die. Now, I'm not saying that's not a huge number, but it's way different than the 3.4 or the amount that you saw in the very beginning that I mentioned worldwide. They have the testing down. They have sites all over the place. You drive through, you get testing, kind of like what's happening here in the United States today. They're starting to set up these networks. And I think they're looking back at what South Korea's done because they've had to deal with this before. And we really haven't had much to deal with infectious diseases of the viral nature. We've been able to figure out how to control it. But now that it's here, it's here. So if you look at all these numbers, it's pretty interesting to see a little bit more about what's happening with every country. And, like I said, I don't know how accurate all these numbers are, and some don't even report anything. But I think it's a good way to look. Look at what's happened here with Italy. So we've got like 1,441 divided by 21,157 times 100. You're looking at a 6.8% fatality rate. Well, what we have to understand too, what is the population that obviously is at risk here in Italy? Is it the same as here? Is it the over 60? In China, they basically said that those over 80 had a 14.8% fatality rate. So if you're 80 and over, almost 15% will die from that disease. Now, like I said, I don't know about the data coming out of China, but I do think it's pretty significant the older you get. And so what about Italy? And what have they done different than anybody else? Because obviously they haven't done a lot right. Is it because the testing is a problem, right? They don't have appropriate testing, so they don't know who's gotten well. But it'd be something to look at. But South Korea is the model. Germany is an interesting one also. So what do we have here? We have 8 divided by 4525 times 100. We're looking at 0.176. I don't know. The numbers may be distorted, but you have to really understand what a lot of these countries have done well for some of these communicable diseases like virus. Here's another great site. And like I said, I don't know how accurate these are. This one is, Vox.com, future-perfect 2020. Anyway, you can type this in. 9 charts that explain the coronavirus pandemic. And here again, these charts are only as good as the data coming out of these countries. So if you take a look here, and we can kind of understand what's happening with China, they've kind of tapered off. I think they hit this thing pretty hard at some point in time, maybe not as soon as they should have. And worldwide, we're seeing this growing like crazy. Here again, I would say this is probably because worldwide doesn't have the testing. They don't have everything down like you would see going on in South Korea. Italy, we talked about that, Italy and Iran. And here again, Iran, I probably wouldn't trust too much of the information coming out of there. But you can see how they're starting to increase. Now, mind you, China, South Korea, they've already been through it. They've had this stuff way early as compared to us. And we're still ramping up. Today what they did was they stopped all travel, not only from Europe, but they added the UK and Ireland to no travel into the United States. And I think identifying these cases is really important and making sure that we don't get any new because this stuff is growing quite fast. So here are the symptoms. It's obviously respiratory stuff, fever, dry cough, fatigue, sputum, shortness of breath, and so on. You can see here. It's probably stuff that a lot of people, they may never even decide to go to the doctor to get tested because they're just going to feel better. Also, here we take a look, and once again, it's China. I don't know how accurate it is, but you can see the rates starting to decrease as far as the numbers they're saying. I haven't talked to anybody or seen anybody that has come out of China to collaborate this stuff, but it is interesting. And here again, here is the numbers that we're looking at for greater risk of dying, and it's by age. So it's actually broken down by age. And this one here says 18%, whereas the other study I read said 14.8% or 15%. Much more severe than the ordinary flu. But here again, we don't know. We don't know because we don't have the right testing. Not everybody's getting tested. We don't know the fatality rates. And so how contagious is it? They say it's about twice as contagious as the normal flu. And who knows how accurate that number is. I do know that this is growing pretty darn fast. But let's see here. early COVID testing per capita. So test per million people, obviously we can see that we really don't have a lot of testing available out there. But look at South Korea. It's like I mentioned to you in that other web page. And I think this has a lot to do with it. And they're saying that the early testing, you can isolate people better. You understand where the disease is going, where it's come from. But testing does make a difference. And the secret is, do you just stay away from everybody until you're tested or till you get symptomology? That's a big question. And here they basically talk a little bit about why canceling an event and self-quarantining is so important. So, it's something to think about, but you have to understand that we don't have cures. And are we going to have a cure? I don't know. Even a vaccine may not have a cure, as we may get some drifting of the virus. And next thing you know, it changes its makeup, and therefore a vaccination won't be effective. And it's going to continually change. So you have to make sure that you're physically in great shape, doing well, you're eating the right foods. I'm going to talk a little bit later in a different video about what you can do if you start coming down with some of the symptoms. I hope this helps. My name's Dr. Celaya. You can go over to my website, drcelaya, CELAYA.com. Thanks. Take care.